Good evening, Eswatini, and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobe Gonzapkelwago. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The Minister of Finance, Neil Reckenberg, says the over 3 billion emalangeni loan from the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, as well as the African Development Bank will be used to buy personal protective clothing. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, says young entrepreneurs have the potential to positively change the country's economic fortunes. Beneficiaries of the elderly and disability grants will receive their grants on the 5th of August 2020. And now for the news. The Minister of Finance, Neil Reckenberg, says the over 3 billion emalangeni loan from the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, as well as the African Development Bank will be used to buy personal protective clothing for healthcare workers and also to cushion the budget for the funds used as relief for people affected by COVID-19, amongst other projects.
The Minister of Finance, Neil Reckenberg, says the fiscal deficit this financial year is expected to widen to 8.5% compared to the 4.7% that was initially targeted by the 2020 budget. The minister says the country's financing needs are expected to reach 25.8% of the GDP, hence the need to source extra funding of over 3 billion emalangeni from 3 international financial institutions. The minister explains how the money will be used.
This money is mainly for two things. Number one, obviously the COVID crisis is costing us a bit more money than what we had in the budget for the kind of spends that we are doing. So as we're doing these cash-based transfers, a lot of money is being spent on PPEs, on preparing schools, doing a lot of space in the COVID spend. There's an element of spend going in there. At the same time, we are also, because of the COVID crisis and the lockdowns in our neighboring countries, it's also meaning that the economy isn't performing like it should. So you find that our economy, with the reduction in economic activity, our taxes are also reduced. So it's around 20% that we are projecting that our taxes will be less this year. And for that reason, we also need to borrow money to try and fill that gap. So the money is going into those two spaces.
The minister says government looks to broaden the tax base by increasing the upper ceiling of personal tax in an effort to increase domestic revenue.
At the moment, the personal tax bracket, the upper end, is around 33%. So which means someone earning things above 300,000, 250,000, 300,000 a year pays around 33% of his total salary, with a few deductions which one can obviously make as tax. So we are looking at lifting that. We've been looking at it for a while. It is now time for us to take that more seriously.
The minister says government is in the process of making policies that will ensure that businesses that fall out of the tax base, like car wash and informal businesses, contribute to the country's domestic revenue. He further says government is committed to a 3-year consolidated plan starting in 2021-2022, which will see a 6.5% growth in the country's gross domestic product. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Nelson Ngamandla with Muzim Konda in Babane.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, says young entrepreneurs have the potential to positively change the country's economic fortunes post-COVID-19 if they take advantage of all the entrepreneurship opportunities presented to them. The minister was speaking during the Entrepreneurship World Cup Eswatini 2020 launch hosted by Junior Achievement Eswatini at the Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund offices.
The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Kumalo, encourages young entrepreneurs to use digital platforms to promote their businesses to contribute in uplifting the country's economy. The minister was speaking during the Entrepreneurship World Cup Eswatini 2020 launch hosted by Junior Achievement Eswatini, where it was established that 75 Emaswati have already applied for the competition.
As a ministry, we cannot help getting excited about this particular project, particularly since it has the potential to peg our young entrepreneurs with the best at a global stage. From the vast alumni that we have, I have no doubt that we have a pool of very exciting businesses that can compete at the global level and we've just heard one of them share their testimonial this morning. Therefore, let me take this time to really encourage all our young entrepreneurs to grab this opportunity with both hands and use this as a chance to show the world what Eswatini is capable of.
Junior Achievement Acting Executive Director Phethile Masilela says they are impressed with the response they received from the competition.
Through your support, some of these young people have also been able to form cooperatives through which they implement their business ideas.
Phumelele Mota of the Global Entrepreneurship Network Eswatini board details the prizes for the top winners.
Grand prizes ranging from $500,000 to the second prize. Winners would get almost $250,000. $100,000 would be going to the third winners.
This initiative is in line with government's strategic roadmap of 2019-2023, which supports empowering the youth with entrepreneurship skills. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm NELSPRUIT with Muzi Mkhonda in Mbabane.
The Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilakazi, says the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted the negotiations agreement between the Pigs Peak Hotel and potential franchise for the management of the hotel. The minister has encouraged the new board of directors of the hotel to make sure that the agreements are finalized soon. Vilakazi was speaking in his offices in Mbabane when announcing the hotel's new board of directors.
Pigs Peak Hotel and Casino is registered as a public enterprise which requires sound corporate governance. According to the Minister for Tourism, Moses Vilakazi, the hotel has a potential of making great profit for government. The minister says the few number of issues concerning the hotel will be resolved soon.
We expect you to finalize the issue of the operator. That is very, very key, because government is not in the business of business, but a private operator is urgently needed. On behalf of His Majesty's government, I have confidence that the expertise of the appointed board of directors will be able to see through that the dictates of the hotel and casino operations will be implemented with great precision.
The chairperson of the board of directors, Sibongile Dlamini, says that they support the idea of making Pigs Peak Hotel the preferred hotel. Dlamini appeals to government for assistance while executing their duties.
Ngiselapha ukuthi sibonga kakhulu lokusethemba lomsebenzi lomkhulu. Siyadzinga ukubambisana naye uhulumende.
Vilakazi says that the issue of general manager for the hotel will be solved after finding an operator. On another note, Vilakazi stated that the hotel will continue to be used as a quarantine center for those who return to the country from other countries, which is done as a precautionary measure in the fight against COVID-19. The board members includes Henry Mlabane, Malkos Selwane, Emmanuel Simelane, Hepima Vimbela, Wayne Lavender, Hermon Mota, and Tulani Mota. For Eswatini TV News Sondomlangeni with Fabrice Musonera in Mbabane.
We will now look at a statement from the Deputy Prime Minister's office. The Deputy Prime Minister's office would like to inform the public, especially beneficiaries of the elderly and disability grants, that the manual disbursement of grants will begin on the 5th of August 2020. According to a statement issued by Hlopsile Dlamini, the Undersecretary in the DPM's office, the disbursement will first commence in the Shiselweni region, followed by Lubombo, then Hoho, and finally Manzini. The Undersecretary in the statement says the beneficiaries will continue to receive their grants via their mobile phone devices, and recipients who receive their grants through banks have already been paid. She says Eswatini Post and Telecommunication Corporation will give out further details on the dates of payment with other regions. The Deputy Prime Minister's office would like to sincerely apologize for the delay in payments of the grants and further apologize for any inconvenience or frustration that this may have caused to the beneficiaries. The DPM says the delay was caused by the disruption of its operations due to the due to COVID-19, and it would like to assure all parties involved that once payments have started, they foresee no beneficiary not receiving his or her grant. We will now continue with the news. The National Disaster Management Agency CEO Russell Dlamini says they have been able to assist 67,700 homesteads in the country with the funds that were donated by the Nathi Kirsch Foundation to assist Eswatini during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The National Disaster Management Agency, together with the Nathi Kirsch Foundation and other organizations, today visited beneficiaries of the 190 million emalangeni donated by the Nathi Kirsch Foundation to the Eswatini government, which will assist Eswatini during this period of COVID-19. The National Disaster Management Agency CEO Russell Dlamini says the program has been going well so far, as they have been able to reach out to different communities in the country.
Just want to take this opportunity to appreciate everybody who has collaborated with the government in ensuring that this help gets to the people, because it's important for people to understand that this is a government program, that is government working together with all other partners like the Kirsch Foundation, like the NGOs in the country.
The Nathi Kirsch Foundation representative George Lee says it is great to see that the money is being used well.
I'm going to be able to report back to Mr. Kirsch and his family that the money is being used properly, it's been accounted for in a proper way.
One of the beneficiaries, Gugu Dlamini, expressed her gratitude to the foundation and government, explaining how the money has helped her.
Ingisite kakhulu esigabeni sokuthi nginebantwana nje ngihleli lapha endlini ngingasebenzi ngikhonile ukuthi ngizame tithombo ngilime ingadze through le mali nyalo nje sengiyadla vele sengiyadla spinach nyalo.
The National Disaster Management Agency says it will continue to assist the government of Eswatini by reaching out to all Eswatini who need help during this period of COVID-19. Reporting, I'm Temalangen Dlamini with Nelsi Wesimelane Ngwene.
Livestock roaming in the streets of Pleni is the biggest challenge to drivers and business people in the area, which is fast developing. According to the police, a number of accidents that occur along the roads leading to Buhleni are caused by livestock.
Buhleni is one of the fast developing towns in the country, but it is faced with a challenge of livestock that is always roaming around town, disturbing free flow of traffic. According to Sergeant Dr. Ngwenya, the livestock contributes to a number of accidents in most of the roads leading to Buhleni.
Tingoma atisito nakeleleka kahle. Ngito lethi ngasiniketa tingoti lethi ngasithi setudlwanyana nawubuka statistics sethu selaphleni.
Business people also allude to the fact that livestock is a problem in Buhleni.
Nomaliana tikijima letinyetilale latifuna le shelter la khona khona lokuvikeleka khona.
The chairperson of Buhleni Town Board, Clifford Mamba, says as a board they are in the process of solving the issue.
Baso phakathi ke nalala abafuyile sizofuna lokuthi bakhulumisa ukuthi bangabothi faka phela la edolobheni kwanyana.
Traffic police officers encourage Buhleni residents and those in neighboring residential areas to take extra care of their livestock. Sergeant Gwenya further encouraged even drivers to drive cautiously to reduce road accidents. Reporting for Eswatini TV News is Phumapi Msweli in Buhleni.
NAMPOD CEO Sphepiso Dlamini has announced the launch of a risk assessment system which is aimed at reducing COVID-19 infections and impact on NAMPOD's day-to-day operations on both staff and customers.
Escalating numbers of COVID-19 cases in Eswatini, the National Marketing Board, which is NAMPOD, has presented the risk management assessment system aimed at assisting the company to identify and manage risks related to the COVID-19 impact. The company engaged Simafshek to ensure business continuity and the protection of staff and customers and stakeholders. NAMPOD CEO Sphepiso Dlamini highlights some of the measures.
Cash handling will be minimized extensively. So in all the cash points that we have, permits at the head office, input sector at Engabeni, the demo plot, the nursery, and the market. We have decided to put a policy that will promote payment through the mobile platforms, EFT, as well as use of debit or credit cards. So we are encouraging our stakeholders to try as much as possible utilize these platforms that we are proposing for them. The second issue is interaction in the permit space. Many people go to South Africa to buy produce or receive produce from outside the country. And there's a high risk of infection in that conduit. As a consequence, for permits, we are saying we are going to issue all our permits electronically. It is our expectation that people will pay for permits electronically in the models that we have suggested above, and consequent to this, then they will send an email confirming that.
The company's long-term measures includes implementing a digital monitoring system to maintain compliance with COVID-19 compliance measures. NAMPOD will also continue to train staff and empower them to carry the safety measures. Sustainable Development Goal number 1 speaks to no hunger, thus prioritizing food security. I am Kiani Msibi for Eswatini TV News, Manzini.
The founder of the Stuki Mota Foundation, Stuki Mota, says hand sanitizers that are used by people to protect themselves from COVID-19 are not good for people living with albinism, and that they are now faced with problems of not being able to acquire the right skin products.
The founder of the Stuki Mota Foundation, Stuki Mota, says hand sanitizers that are used to protect people from the COVID-19 disease do not cater for people living with albinism, as they cause damage to their skin.
Some of our people, when they use the sanitizers, their skin gets corroded because it is sensitive. The reason is because the ethanol that is being used is not good for sensitive skin. And therefore, if you have sensitive skin and you use it, you are bound to have problems. So we got that complaint. So what we would like to urge, especially the public places like shops, supermarkets, buses, if they could at least have running water so that persons with albinism can wash their hands instead of using the sanitizers, because it's not good for their skin.
Mota says another problem they are faced with is that they are not able to get proper skin products for their skin, as there is a shortage of the right ones they use in stores.
It's due to the fact that borders have not opened, and so trade is not flowing freely as it used to be. If I were to give you an example, we ordered sunscreen in March. To date, it has not been delivered because of the problems of couriers, airplanes having to deliver those things. So yes, there is an acute shortage. And when I tried to check the shops that would sell sunscreen, there is sunscreen, but it is not the perfect one for persons with albinism, because it has to have at least as a sun protection factor of 30.
Mota says the COVID-19 pandemic has affected everyone in different ways, and that people in the kingdom should work hand in hand to survive as the country is still battling with the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Nelsi Wesimelane, Babane.
The African Jilo Empowerment Organization from North Korea, together with Ematfuba Project for Rice Farming, met with Lobamba constituency members to discuss the next phase of the construction of the primary school, which will be funded by the organization, as well as the farming of rice under Lobamba constituency, which will reduce the country's import of rice.
The African Jilo Empowerment Organization from North Korea were given land where they aim to construct a primary school which will also offer after-school lessons on culture and skills at Eguzubegweni area under the Lobamba constituency. With them is another organization called Ematfuba Project for Rice Farming, who have also been given land to farm rice. Daniel Lee of the African Jilo Organization says they had met to discuss the next phase.
So today we are discussing to finalize the festival date and our upcoming meetings with the Ministry of Education.
Lobamba constituency headman Begisisa Pembe says they are delighted to have the Ematuba project for rice farming, proposing to farm rice which will reduce the country's import of rice as per the Minister of Agriculture's mandate.
And then ke sesiphindze kusikhulumisa nalokuthi njengalesikole lebase osakhela sona se-primary.
The school construction are in line with the Ministry of Education's 1999 policy, which was reviewed in 2011, and the National Constitution of 2005, Section 29, Clause 6, which state that every Swazi child shall, within 3 years of the commencement of this constitution, have the right to free education in public schools up to at least grade 7. The national policy and the constitution are clear on government's intention of providing PSIC education within 10 years of available financial and other resources capabilities. I am Kianim Sibi, Lobamba.
Let's take a look at our sports news. Local caddies at Mbabane Golf Course are expressing their joy after the return of golf tournaments. The caddies say their lives are back to normal as they can now earn a living in assisting golfers.
Government gave a green light to some of the sporting courses that seemingly have less chances of spreading COVID-19. Golf was amongst the sporting courses that returned to action, which also saw the lives of caddies becoming easier as their lives mostly depends on assisting golfers. Caddies are expressing their joy for the return of the sport. They say currently things are better compared to the past few months, in as much as it is not everyone who gets help, but is at least better. On another note, Eswatini Golf Union President Albert Mhlanga says they will always prioritize the assistance of the caddies. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
Green Mamba goalkeeper Thokozani Mkhulisi says he is looking to keep playing football till the age of 40. The 33-year-old says there is still a lot to win while playing for Green Mamba.
Green Mamba goalkeeper Thokozani Mkhulisi played a huge role in assisting club clinching the 2018-2019 Premier League trophy and the recent Ngwenyama Cup tournament. Mkhulisi says there is a lot to achieve with the club, and for that he's looking to play as far as the age of 40.
Yeah, and fortunately for me, goalkeeper ba retire late around 40. So nangda ufika kulo 40 so ngisakona kudlala. I think I'll be still playing.
Mkhulisi went on to highlight that his time with the national team Sihlangu Seminigati is over for now. He believes the country has the best quality of goalkeepers.
Yes, as a country we do have good goalkeepers. But for me, kungifaka lapha angeke ungifake lapha because I'm part of it.
Mkhulisi concluded saying that he's yet to deliver the best for Green Mamba. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
Before we wrap up our bulletin, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. The Minister of Finance, Neil Reckenberg, says the over 3 billion emalangeni loan from the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, as well as the African Development Bank will be used to buy personal protective clothing. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says young entrepreneurs have the potential to positively change the country's economic fortunes. Beneficiaries of the elderly and disability grants will receive their grants on the 5th of August 2020. Eswatini, that's all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.